This is Wednesday, September 15th. We've got a pretty nice day today for a change. The weather has just been lousy the last 2 or 3 weeks or so, just waves of rain and wind coming in. So the official flying season for me is over. The commercial salmon fishery is pretty much over. Would have had a couple more flights probably, but the weather has just been too bad for that. So we got a nice day this day, and I decided to go out and do a little bit of a fun flight with my wife. I like to take her out late in the season after all the regular flying is all done, where it won't affect the time on the airplane or anything. So he said we got a nice day today. We're going to go take off and see if we can find some high bush cranberries. My wife is recording this with the cell phones from the back seat. And this is a little different perspective from usual. Unfortunately, the cell phones have autofocus on them, and we've got water droplets and bugs on the windows and stuff, and it keeps trying to focus on that instead of on everything else. So it's not quite as good a video as I'd like, but it's still pretty good. So anyway, we're taking off from Petersburg here. We're going to head south down to Wrangell Island, and our initial stop is going to be Tom's Lake on Wrangell Island. You can see all the brown dying trees down here. We had an infestation of a budworm on the hemlock trees last couple of years, I guess because of the dry weather, and there's a lot of them that the needles and stuff are dying on. Forest Service official policy is that a lot of those will recover as we get back into a normal weather cycle, but it looks like a lot of them are going to die. Well, anyway, we got a lot of dead hemlock trees around in the country, or dead looking hemlock trees around in the country, and that's kind of what my wife was showing here. Now we're looking over at the east side of Frederick Sound, on the south end of Frederick Sound. The bay right directly in the middle that we're going by goes up into the Connie Glacier, and the one just coming into the middle now is the north arm of the Stikine River. Looking at one of the little valleys in Midcoff Island here. We're going down the east side of the island on Frederick Sound, and this is kind of typical of what Midcoff Island looks like as we go south. Coming along these little lakes right here. This is called Three Lakes. There's Sand Hill and Crane Lake. There's a road that runs around the base of those mountains right there, from one valley into the next, and then back out to the highway on the more western side of the island. It's called Three Lakes Road. There are trails down to each one of these lakes. The roads don't go down to them, but there are boardwalk trails down to the lakes, and then between the three lakes, and there are a couple little boats on a couple of the lakes that have oars in them that people can go down there and play around in the lakes. It's a popular recreation area. Looking out the left at the north arm of the Stikine River and Alaska mainland there, And back towards Lacani Glacier. That glacier's right back in there where that V is in the valley. And we're going to swing around and look into Dry Straits, which is the passage between Mitkoff Island and the mainland system. Over the Stikine River Delta now, just past the south end of Mitkoff Island. Look at some of the islands out here off of that. That's looking south down Stikine Straits, and that runs into Clarence Straits. Swing around and look into the Stikine River Delta. That's the main stem, the south arm there on the right side of the island, Surgeoff Island. And then we'll turn around and look over into the middle arm. That runs out right to the Mitkoff Island there, the south end of it. And this is some of the stuff coming out of the Stikine River building up the delta. This used to be all open water when I first came here, where all of this sandbar is right now. Look out to the west there, up Sumner Straits, that runs on out, well, all the way out to the Pacific Ocean there. Coming by Wrangell, the big city of Wrangell, Alaska. Airport's there on the left side. Main downtown area is right there in the center. That's downtown Wrangell. It's Blakely Channel, or the back channel there on the other side of Wrangell, and then the Alaska mainland back there. And we're looking down Zimovia Straits, and it's Point Nemo right there off the far point that you can see, and that's where we're going to go. We're going to go right around Point Nemo and then into Tom's Lake. And there's Tom's Lake. Tom's Lake is a sockeye system. Sockeye salmon come up in there and rear in the lake, and they go up a little stream that's right there in the center of the screen right now. You can't really see the stream there yet, but right there behind those bunch of trees that are in the right top center. Anyway, I've brought fish and game biologists in here for the last 20 years or so in the late fall to walk that stream to count the returning sockeye salmon fish. And when I did that, I noticed that there was a pretty good patch of high bush cranberries there on that little delta that next to the stream where it flows out. And one year I picked a couple gallons or more while I was waiting for the guys to walk the stream. So I'm going to bring my wife in here, and we're going to see if we can pick some berries here today. There's no road into this lake. There is a road around the base of the mountain there, just to the north of the lake, about a mile away. And there is a trailhead there on that road, and a trail that is down to the lake here. And then the Forest Service has a little rowboat and a little skiff on the lake there at the end of the trail. You'll be able to see the trail here in a few moments. I've been taking my wife down to another lake quite a ways south of here in the fall to pick high bush cranberries. It's a little spot I found when we were stopping to take a break while we were doing salmon surveys. And I went in there this year, and there's a little stream that run down through there with the high bush cranberries all the way around it. And the stream had flooded and washed everything out, so it kind of wiped out our cranberry patch there. Well, I'd stopped here a few times and noticed the patch here, so I decided I'd bring her in here, and we came in and beached the airplane here and went in and looked, but all of the berries had died. There wasn't a high bush cranberry around anywhere. It had been a couple of years since I was in here, so I didn't realize that they'd died off, but they're all gone. So there's a beaver house right there underneath the wingtip. We're going to go ahead and taxi around the lake and see if we can find any other patches on the lake here, and see if it make it worthwhile to come in here or not. We might be able to find another patch of berries someplace if we look. We motored around down the east side of the lake to the south end of the lake, and I saw one bush, a cranberry bush, and that was it, not enough to stop on. So I've got over here onto the west side of the lake now, and the terrain on this side of the lake is higher, it's drier, so I'm going to speed things up a little bit and take the airplane up on the step, which is kind of like planing the boat, and we'll high-speed taxi around this end of the lake. We're running around about 40 miles an hour, 35, 40 miles an hour here, so a little bit faster. Yeah, we're still looking for a spot, but anyway, we're covering a little more ground. Right between the wing struts there is a beaver house, right behind the wingtip now. We're slow taxiing around this end of the lake because it's a little swampier here, and there's that fish and game cabin. Anyway, we're still looking for high bush cranberries, but this whole trip around the lake here, we didn't see, I think, 2 or 3 bushes, and just very few berries, not enough to make it worthwhile to stop at any place. So we'll go ahead and continue going under the north end of the lake here. It's a little swampy up in here, and a chance of seeing some berries, but we didn't have any luck finding any, so I'm going to go ahead and take off from the lake and head across Wrangell Island. We're going to cross over the back channel, Blakely Channel, and head to a different spot. This is the south end of the lake, coming up on the outlet of the lake where it flows out and down into the salt water. And that's it. That's the outlet of the lake. Tom's Lake, of course, underneath us. Zimovia Straits just there in the distance, and Edelin Island is the big island over there. On the east side of the back channel, Blakely Channel, just across from Wrangell, and we're headed up Crittenden Creek. There's a little pass up here that goes into Andrews Creek, and Andrews Creek flows down into the Stikine River. We're going to fly through this pass and down into Andrews Creek, and my boss told me that he saw a patch of high bush cranberries there on a slough down towards the mouth of Andrews Creek, just short of where it opens up into the Stikine River. We're looking north down Andrews Creek towards the Stikine River, and now it's swing around to the south, and this is the upper end. It's kind of a blind canyon coming in here. The creek comes in really low, but those peaks there are about 4,000 feet, and so they go up pretty steep, and it crosses over then into Aaron's Creek, which runs down into the back channel down south of us, but it's a tough haul to get over the top of those peaks, and there are mountain goats on those hillsides around there, but we're not looking for mountain goats today, so I didn't really spend too much time at it. But we're going to start descending now. I got up to about 2,500, 2,800 feet going through that little pass, and now we're going to start descending down Andrews Creek, get ready to land in the stream. This stream is a king salmon stream and a pink salmon stream, and I fly this during the commercial fishery a little bit earlier in the year for counting king salmon, and then later in the late summer for counting pink salmon. There are no fish left in it now. They're all done their jobs and gone to heaven. Not really sure where we're going here right now. We're looking for high bush cranberries, so we're taxiing down the slough here, looking along the shoreline for any patches of cranberries. And I saw what looked like a patch of high bush cranberries, so we pulled the airplane in on the beach there and got out and took a look. Turned out there was one cranberry bush there, and the rest of what I saw was salmonberry bushes. There was no berries there. But we got out and looked around a little bit, and then we started back up and taxied around some more looking for the berries. And we finally did find a patch of them. And we get out, pull the airplane on the beach, and got out and picked a few. Well, here's some high bush cranberries. I'm picking my heart away there. Just before we got done picking, it started pouring down rain, and so we got pretty soaked there. Come back to the airplane and got loaded up and headed for home.
Didn't lose anything?
Well, we were both soaking wet, locked up inside. The airplane closed up, so the windows were foggy and there's rain all over everything, and the camera didn't really want to focus on anything outside of the airplane. But we're going to taxi out here and warm the plane up and then take off out of this slough out into the main stem of the Stikine River. We'll fly out over the main stem of the Stikine River and then across it and down the north arm of the Stikine, headed back for Petersburg. To the left there, the main channel of the Stikine River, so it heads out, looking right towards Wrangell. We're not going down that way. The north arm of the Stikine spits around this big hill here in front of us, and we're going to head down it and out towards Petersburg instead. Here we're coming out of the Stikine River, back out into the salt water. Yeah, we almost ran into a flock of sandhill cranes headed south for the winter, so we got to fly with the cranes for a little bit.
Flying with a sandhill crane. That's pretty
We're back to Petersburg. Petersburg is the north end of Mitkoff Island. It's also the north end of the Wrangell Narrows there, open up into Frederick Sound. That's Kupernoff Island across the Wrangell Narrows. The village of Kupernoff is there right on the shoreline, and kind of looking up there on the left into Petersburg Creek. It's the big city of Petersburg. And take a quick look to the south here for any traffic that's looking south down the Wrangell Narrows, Scow Bay right under the wingtip there. And coming into land in Petersburg.